So, hello everyone, and welcome to Burty's Classic Bikes. Sort of figured I should give you a bit of context as to why I'd start a channel about classic bikes, and you can probably see it in the picture here. Now you'll have to excuse the mess. The bike is currently in my summer house, as you can see. I've got my bar over there, children's toys on the floor, and the reason for that is I live in England, and as you can see, it's been raining. So a bike with this much chrome on it doesn't really go outside in the rain anymore. This is my AJS 16 MS. It's a 1957 model. Coincidentally the same year that my mum was born, and in her own words, one of them has aged far better than the other. I'm taking that as the fact that she actually accepts this and is very glad that I'm not riding sports bikes anymore. You will probably see, if we go down here, a few marks on the floor where we've been doing a little bit of work. As you'd probably expect, a few little bits that we need to sort out with this. I've only had the bike a few months, and every time we fix one thing, we find another thing to fix. So at the moment, it's not scavenging oil properly, which is why there is no oil in it, taking it all out. And one by one, we are trying to find what the problem is. So the next thing for me is a new plunger for the oil out of my oil pump. And as you can probably make out, the teeth in the middle there, the ends are no longer, and there's also quite considerable wear on the line round. As you can see, this is a pump that just reciprocates up and down and pumps the oil out. So we're going to replace that soon. I'll get one on order today. And to be honest, it's more hope than expectation that it'll fix the issue. I think we've probably got some more things that we need to look at. That has gone wrong already. I don't really ask myself that question, to be honest. I was out riding a few months ago on my CBR 600, and I got home and realised I hadn't shifted out of second gear at all for that whole ride, and it made me question what the point of that bike was. So I got home, I told my wife that I thought I was going to sell it. I put it up for sale the same day and it was gone within 3 days, and a couple of days later this arrived. Now it wasn't a complete whim. I had been looking for a little while beforehand because I've always wanted a classic bike. I grew up watching motorbike racing, going to motorbike museums. My dad's always liked bikes. My granddad before that had bikes as well. And I've always liked old British bikes. The sound, the smell, the look. You can probably see it in the pinstripe in here. I've got quite a good one, looks-wise. Mechanically, we've just got a few little bits to fix. And whilst it can be frustrating, coming from a bike that always started, if it's got a Honda badge on it, you know it's generally pretty good, to something that has a few little gremlins at the moment. When it's working and it's riding as it should, honestly, there is nothing that puts a smile on your face more than this. So I shall take you along on my journey to get this bike fully sorted, and hopefully go on some adventures on it next year, go to some shows, meet some cool people, and just see what happens, really. Now, you will have heard me say the oil pump is possibly my issue earlier, so I thought I'd just show you what I mean. So currently this is an endoscope inside the bore of where that plunger sits. You can see the gear that drives it at the bottom of the picture, and at the top there is the end of the bore. So what we're inspecting for at the moment is if there's any significant scoring, any chunks missing out the bore, as you'd probably expect with that bit that's missing off the plunger. However, there's nothing untoward in there at the moment. The bore feels smooth by hand. I've had both caps off. As you can see, the one at the other end is now back on. As I take this out, you can see again there's no real damage to this bore, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing that it's one less thing to fix. Bad thing that's quite expensive to deal with. So as you can see here, the oil pump plunger goes in this hole here. Not the easiest thing to get at. It's 4 tiny little bolts that go on the end. Thankfully they came out very, very well. It runs across the bottom of the engine. There's another oil feed line up to the rocker cover there, and it's just driven off the main crank. So keep your fingers crossed that ordering a new one of these solves my problem. Just to give you an indication as to why all this investigation is currently going on, I will put a video up just after this to show you, but to give you a clue, it involves this thing here. Obviously, before we got to the point of checking the plunger, because that is a more significant thing to take out, First things that we checked were drain the oil tank, made sure that was clear. There's no gunk in the bottom of that. The return is absolutely clear. Took the pipes off, both ends, flushed them through. Again, no blockages, nothing untoward that we could find. Which is sort of what we were hoping it was going to be, just a slightly clogged return pipe. Clean the filter out, but that unfortunately has not fixed the problem. For anyone that doesn't know, the filter on these it sits right on the top of the pipe. It's a gauze filter that sits half in the tube, up in the tank. They're very flimsy, but back when they created this bike, it did the job, and it's still doing the job to this day. So who am I to argue as to the way they've done things?